talk about. The Godzilla and King Kong storyline certainly continues from our original Godzilla movie that we wind up getting a few years back. We wind up with Bryan Cranston, I believe. Aaron Johnson, I believe, was also in that Godzilla film. We eventually wind up getting ourselves a King Kong film in Skull Island, which I thought was great, with Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston. Just a really fantastic film. And then just recently, as of last summer or the summer before, we got Godzilla King of the Monsters. So we are building up to a clash of the monsters here. Godzilla certainly versus Kong, which I think is set to actually go ahead and debut summer of next year, but I believe it was actually supposed to come out this year, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So movement definitely has pushed back this particular film, but as you clearly know, with the situation with the pandemic and whether or not movie theaters are going to be open, it definitely leaves things wide open for Warner Brothers in regards to how they want to release their upcoming blockbuster film between Godzilla versus Kong. So let's go ahead and get into this actual article. This one actually comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter, saying Godzilla vs. Kong likely the latest tentpole to go to a streamer. This is an exclusive report from The Hollywood Reporter themselves. It does say Netflix made a bid of more than $200 million, but Warner Brothers is prepping an offer to send the legendary sequel to HBO Max. So it says Godzilla versus Kong, the forthcoming monster movie from Legendary Pictures, looks like it's to be the latest big franchise movie to head to a streamer. Knowledgeable sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Netflix has made an offer of more than $200 million for the film, while Warner Media has blocked the deal while preparing an offer of its own for its streamer, HBO Max. Legendary declined to comment, while a Warner Brothers spokesperson said, "We plan to release Godzilla vs. Kong theatrically next year as scheduled." So it says the Netflix offer undoubtedly had a lure for Legendary, which financed 75% of the budget. As Netflix does not have a presence in China, the film could play theatrically there. So I didn't know that they actually forked over that much money to actually make this film. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It says Godzilla vs. Kong, the fourth entry in the series, is slated for a May 21st, 2021 opening, but is far from clear that U.S. theaters will be fully back in business by then. And even if they are, the studios face a pileup of major releases that were pushed due to the pandemic. Meanwhile, Legendary is stuck with the cost of carrying an unreleased big budget film, though Wonder Brothers has only a 25% stake in the movie. So 75% in Legendary, 25% in Warner Brothers. So yeah, so interesting stuff, and I love the fact that it also mentions that they are literally just sitting on this cost that they've actually put towards this movie, and now it looks as though they definitely have to worry about trying to make this money back at the end of the day for them. So we'll see what happens, but I feel like, Stuart, Wonder Woman 1984 has just opened up the floodgates now. I feel like a lot of movie theaters, not movie theaters, a lot of movie studios are now trying to figure out what do they want to do with these big tentpole films. Maybe they look at Wonder Woman doing the whole semi-casting of releasing them, a simulcast, I should say, of releasing them on HBO Max and in theaters at the same day. I feel like that's certainly the route that they're definitely going to go. I do find it interesting too, Stuart, that Warner Brothers is finding more value in using a film like this for HBO Max than just taking, say, the $200 million from Netflix. You know what I mean? They definitely want to clearly keep this on their own streaming service, understanding what the streaming wars are certainly like these days, foregoing the idea of $200 million when they're sitting on the idea of we need to make some money back, but clearly they see their value in their streaming service certainly going forward. But what do you think about this, Stuart? Do you think that this is going to be, I don't want to say a new trend, but the direction that more studios start going, or they're going to be a little bit more picky in the future? What are your thoughts on just the story in general?
I feel like this is what Warner Brothers is going to be doing with a lot of their properties, but I think like most other studios are just going to be kind of sitting back and waiting for Wonder Woman to see how that movie does. So yeah, in other words, I think Warner Brothers has kind of made up their mind already, but other studios haven't. I think this is a good move for the most part. My biggest concern, though, is, same exact thing with Wonder Woman. Are we going to re release it once theaters open back up? Because this is a movie that I really want to see in IMAX theaters. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any IMAX theaters in my area are going to be opened up like by the time this movie gets released. So, when theaters fully do open back up, can we please get a re release for this? Because this and Wonder Woman feel like they need to be watched in the big screen.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember watching King of the Monsters in theaters, and it was just bananas. I mean, just the scope and size of the screen, the sound quality. I mean, it was just absolutely unbelievable to be in that theater for that movie. So you're right. Like Wonder Woman, this is definitely a film that deserves to be seen on the big screens. It doesn't say. It looks as though Warner Brothers is still trying to at least make up their mind, because it doesn't necessarily say if they are going to be releasing it on HBO Max and in theaters on May 21st, or if it's a thing of they'll end up releasing Godzilla versus Kong early, like March or April or something like that, and then in theaters in May. It doesn't really say any of that in the article that I'm reading here, but we'll see what Warner Brothers decides. But it definitely feels as though they certainly have several options at their disposal at this point in time. But guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts. What would you prefer? Do you want to see Godzilla released the same way that Wonder Woman certainly is these days? Or you want to see on HBO Max first, then in theaters? Certainly go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen.